Hello and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be in the world. Appropriately enough, it's dawn here in Xiamen, where I'm speaking to you. My name is Bill Aitchison, and I will introduce the video, and then if you have questions, comments, we can have a discussion afterwards. Myself, I am a performance artist, theatre director, and lecturer here in Xiamen University. And I'm originally from the UK. I've been in China about 5-6 years now. And my artistic practice involves a lot of site-specific performance, also moving into the area of tours and kind of the avant-garde appropriation of tours and tourism. And this, in a way, is what led me to landscape and goodness. I think that's probably enough, except to say perhaps that this type of work has taken form in many parts of the world. Right now, of course, with the virus, we're restricted to China. But as you'll see, the situation we had was actually quite an advantageous one here, where we were able to make public gatherings and events such as this without any problems whatsoever. So without further ado, I think we should start the video and then open it up for discussion. Can we start the video, please?
Hello, my name is Bill Aitchison, and I'm going to introduce the video we made for the annual symposium. The audio is a little bit strange because, well, it should have been better. There should have been another video. There is another video, but somehow it got lost in transit. So we just have a picture of the scene and one of the participants who shared what she experienced in the dawn, and I'll try to fill in some of the other gaps of what happened last night and this morning. So a group of us, and mostly students from Xiamen University on the southern coast of China, and one or two friends of theirs who from also around here, we decided not only would we meet at the dawn, but we'd spend the whole night up. So we got together, and we didn't want to get too cold, so we decided to meet in a bar in Phoebe's, and we met there and spent a while there, had one or two drinks, but actually most of the students weren't really kind of that involved in that scene. So still, it was an icebreaker, and there must have been about 8 or 9 of us. And then around 2 o'clock in the morning, it was time they were closing up, and it was time for us to make our way along to Baicheng Beach, and walked over, and the tide was up, and fairly soon we arrived, and it was of course very dark, and seemed like we were the only people there on the beach. It was a Saturday night, Sunday morning, had the place to ourselves. It was kind of beautiful, just the sound of the waves washing in and out. Well, there had to be some kind of hook to get all these people out at that time, and one of the hook was we'd have a little bit of a party, which we did. We had a little bit of music and dancing, and then after a while, interestingly, people started to arrive. Some groups. Well, it was still very dark, like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, but people started showing up, and I never expected that. But some of the people we started hanging out with and talking with them quite seriously. Then, when we were getting closer to 5:30, it was time to kind of kill the music and just to kind of do as we'd planned, which was to listen to the waves, to some of us to take a walk, took a walk along the beach, and then for 6:30 we came together again and we started to share what we had been thinking about during this more contemplative time. The way I suggested this was that each of us would think of 3 words, and we would share those 3 words, and that could give us something to begin to talk about. And well, there were many things which people said, but interestingly, I would say that maybe most of the things were more descriptive, describing what was seen on the beach, describing the experience itself, rather than the type of realizations or feelings which the experience brought up. And maybe that's simply because it is a kind of novel way to experience this place. People just don't do that. And so the safer way, when one doesn't know exactly who, how, or what you're talking about, is just to describe what happened rather than how it felt. So we had lots of descriptions of light and of accidents, and it is indeed quite true that the light was special, and we had so many accidents. And when I think about that now, life is often rather regulated, and the space for accidents is kept deliberately small. And this was a space where accidents were far more welcome, even encouraged. And we did meet strangers, and again, that's something which doesn't happen so typically. And well, we shared all of these, and there was something kind of beautiful about it. And yet I also felt that we were kind of consuming the experience, that by the time the dawn came, there were quite a number of groups on the beach, all waiting for the first light, and well, it was a cloudy morning, so there was no spectacular golden rays kind of coming over the horizon and giving us this awe moment. And so instead the day crept up upon us, and then most of the groups slowly made their exits from the beach, whilst we continued and were talking for a while. Well, actually what was maybe most interesting was when the group got smaller and smaller in number until there was just 2 of us left. And that, maybe naturally, was when the conversation became most deep, and maybe that's also when there was enough time to feel the rhythm of the waves and of the space itself. and to allow that to kind of enter into the thinking, the feeling, and so when we finally arrived at the conversation was significant about the role of arts in the society, about quite a lot about the status of women as well, and well, carried on and also ate a little bit. We brought a bit of food with us, and then well, after about 9 o'clock, after hour or 2 hours of solid conversation, we made our goodbyes and went our separate ways. And here the morning kind of rolled on, and there was this sense of a very nice sense of the people from the night before and the people from the next day. At first we were crossing over one another, and we still seemed to hold sway, but as the morning went on, it was clear that we were the intruders, the unwelcome element from the night before. So it was good to kind of to get out of the way and have a shower. Anyway, later discovered this problem with the video, which I can only apologise for, which means that most of the comments were well, they're not lost exactly, but they're not. It's not possible to get them in such a short space of time. They'll surface, but we'll have to wait. And but I did meet one of the participants, and she did in the same place actually on this Baicheng Beach, explain again what her 3 words were and what she was thinking during this time. So I've added that now, and maybe we can listen to her thoughts and then continue a discussion. Thank you.
My story is about I don't know exactly what the word is. I need to check the dictionary. Vagabondage. I think the sound is just vagabondage because I think it's very soft. I think it's very soft that the sunrise. I think I used to think it will be risk the sunrise because many dangerous things has happened before the sunrise. Yeah, many dangerous things, many risks are taken before the sunrise because it's the last time of darkness. Yeah, but actually it's not that serious 怎么说啊？我不会这个词，我再查一下。intense. Yeah, it is not that intense. Actually, it's very smooth, and I prefer to describe it as a precision that it is really cloudy in Xiamen that morning, and the sun is not appear, but the sky is lit up. It's lit up, and everybody knows that it is lit up. And at sunrise, we can see that. We can see that, but we know that it is here. And then at one moment, I have seen it shine for just one moment, and it is disappear. So I think it is just like a, I don't know this word.
Vagrant.
Yes, just like a vagrant. Actually, we also think the sun as a powerful one, like a king of the words. But I don't think so. I think the sun has its own sorrow. So he had behind the clouds. He had behind the clouds, and hiding somewhere we can find it. And by accident, we saw it for a while, and he disappeared and hiding other way, where very quickly, like a little child, and very smooth, very soft, very sorrow, a sort of depression. Yeah. It seems that the sun lived in a poor life as the moon do. Yeah. And the second word is I don't know its name. Yeah, I still need to check. Egret. You know egret? You know egret. It is a story of egrets. Oh, I have one reason to 补充 to reach the word of vagrants. Yeah, because I have told you that I love Angel's film, and it reminds me of some things that many vagrants wear. They wear dark clothes, and they just stand in a beach at random. They just stand there and look at the sea. I don't know what they're thinking. This thing actually appeared many times in his film, and I'm always curious about what does the person is thinking at a time. Why do they wear dark clothes? And actually, they're in a they're in a trope, and come here with a big bus. Just step forward one by one, and they wear dark clothes and stand the sea. And 我是不是说太多了？
可以。
Oh, okay. 好吧。They just stand there and they don't act anything, and they just see the sea, watch the sea. 盯着那个大海，然后他们念他们的台词 they read their dialogue, and in a loud voice, and then they burst into tears. I think I really feel a sense of depression at that time. I think it is very, very powerful to express sorrow like this. And even though the sun is like a light, but I think it is the same to the person who is dead by the sea, because they wear dark clothes, not because they're not light, because they want to hide themselves. Yeah, I think it is the same. And the other one, egret. Yeah, it is a story of my personally, because when I was, it is a real thing to talk about myself. It is a real thing. If it is not right to talk about myself in this video, I will not talk anymore.
I think we always talk about ourselves.
Really, very personally.
Well, not everybody, but whenever we speak, well, just the kind of the highlights.
Highlights. I
Yes,
don't know what is
the most important part.
actually, I'm not very care about talk about myself, but I worry if it was rude to talk about personally. Okay.
Go ahead.
It's the night before we take I don't know 你们把分离叫什么？分开离开
Yeah,
分离
separate, leave.
Separate, yeah, separate. He just go to his city and I just stay here. Yeah. Yeah. I saw two aircraft, and I think I have told you the story, right? He said that look at them, they're really elegant to chase the sea. You say that we are also elegant, but actually they're more elegant because they have wings, but we don't have wings. We can never fly. But you know, it is my dream to be a bird. Yeah, it is really depression. So I come over the seaside for a long time, circle and circle and circle, and I hope I can be at one time that elegant to the aircraft. Maybe that time I can have a wings, and before the sunrise, I think it must be the last opportunity, like your your opportunity to the sunrise and 沙漠怎么说？我又不会说了，反正就那么意思。然后我觉得那应该是我最后的机会了，要不然天一亮的话，所有人都会看到我干的傻事了。Sunrise, everybody will say the stupid things that I've done in a seaside. I do want them to say me. I just want to do stupid things in the darkness. So I just 蹲下怎么说
Head in the sand.
Maybe yes. And I try to put myself in a same height of the aircraft, and maybe the wave is coming. I was the same height of the wave, and I will feel a really sense of dangerous. Then I will have the power to get a wings, and I will fly. Yeah, that's what I think at that time. But actually, no, my shoes wet. Till now, yeah. So it is stupid. It is ridiculous. But I still want to be a bird. I still want my wings. Yeah, because the wings can take you to anywhere. I will never forget how elegant the aircraft will be. Yeah. And the last is that chasing, yeah. Because the sun is chasing the moon. We're chasing the sun. The moon is chasing the cloud. The cloud is chasing the sea. But no one can get really away, because the sun can't catch up with the moon. We can't catch up with the sun. Moon can't catch up with the clouds. They're just like a car. Yeah, you can say it's just like a flat car, and the moon is like a passenger, and it take them to the very far away, and maybe to the next. 那个叫什么？我们在东半球吧，他可能带他去 west part of the earth, west part of the earth maybe, but no one can win. No one can win. The sun can meet the sun can meet the moon at a very short time. They're just in the same sky. They meet each other, and the sun is chasing the moon. But the moon is disappear because of the sun's chasing. Moon never know how deep sun loves him. The sun never knows that his power is the reason that why moon disappear. So I think it's a real sad story. We are catching up with the sun, but we don't know because of our chasing. The sun gets to the top of the sky and far away from us. We can never chase the sun, and if only we catch up with the sun, we will be Nash. Yeah, very realism. Yeah, that's the word of mine. Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you very much for playing the video. Perhaps we can open this up now for discussion, comments. I already see there's one from Tim here. The subject of the film is actually not the beach or the group, so much as it is the maintenance workers. This says so much about the fact that the landscapes we take for granted are actually very closely watched and maintained. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There's this invisible work in the background, or not so invisible when we pay attention. Massively shapes, and particularly in this beach, it's very true, because there's a bit of a culture of littering, of taking spaces for granted amongst tourists here. So it's kind of expected that there should be somebody to clean up after you, and so leaving behind litter is sadly rather normal, and it's particularly in this type of space considered somebody else's job to maintain the space. I'd be interested how much that is true in other places, but that's certainly the case in a place like Baicheng Beach, which is a tourist beach. I wonder if anybody else has some comments or questions. Do you think it is a usual occurrence that other groups congregate on the beach in the early morning, as you mentioned you were surprised by? I think I will have to go there at that time to see. I did go there one weekday morning, and it was not quite like that. It was just the kind of one or two random dog walkers and people practicing their running, but rather sparsely populated, not as a social space. I think it was because it was the Saturday night, Sunday morning transition that it turned out to be far busier than I would have expected it to be. I think in a way, there's not quite such a large nighttime economy in China, in a sense of people going out at that time of night, as there is in UK or in Europe, where I'm kind of familiar. And so the kind of number of people one finds in a number of bars and clubs and this type of place is rather few. So I was indeed surprised that, but perhaps it's the case that this was the kind of the focal point where different groups saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be a good idea to go to Baicheng and watch the dawn?" And so what I thought would have been a rather novel experience was not quite as novel as I had imagined it would be, but it was the sort of maybe the after party kind of location.
Okay, thank you, Bill. And maybe I can share maybe some of my comment because I also come from China, and actually your video truly gave me a very deep impression because my hometown is also a coastal city, but different from Xiamen. The city is called Yingkou and it's only how the west coast. So it means that when I was a child, I could only expecting the sunset instead of the sunrise. And I think in Chinese philosophy that sunset actually is always related with some negative attitude towards life. And actually that makes me to believe that the large scale landscape sometimes will have an influence on maybe the whole urban atmosphere, because Xiamen is a very energetic city and my hometown actually is a resource exhausted city. So I think maybe there are some sort of the relation between the landscape of the sun and also the development of the environment of the whole city. So actually, you really truly, impress me. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That this difference between the way in which the coast faces, whether you have sunrise or a sunset, and how these are culturally given different sense of value, different meaning to a sunrise, to a sunset. I think Xiamen is rather fortunate in the sense that it is an island. It's an island city. So depending on which side of the island you're on, you can get both the sunrise and the sunset. And if you have a car, you can in the morning kind of look at the sunrise, and then in the evening go for the sunset, and vice versa. So it's rather special that way, which, funnily enough, is also the case of my home city in the UK, Portsmouth, also an island city, although a smaller island city. So, but a place surrounded by water, which is perhaps one of the reasons I'm kind of both at home and rather attracted to this specific situation. Where we were sitting, we did not get precisely the sun rising over the water. It rose over some trees. We would have to have been a bit further around the island by about 15-20 degrees, as it were, to have got the sun coming over the water, which of course is its own kind of thing. But because it was cloudy, maybe the meaning would be somewhat. What was interesting actually was when we waited for the a bit of time, the sun did kind of shine through the clouds, and that's when there was that sort of shock and awe moment, the godlight, as it were, and it was very, very fleeting, just sort of 3 seconds at 7:30, and then another 2 or 3 seconds an hour later, but it was all the more powerful because it was so fleeting that almost you could blink and miss it. So that when you did experience it, it was like you caught some kind of mystery, some surprise that maybe most people didn't see. You had to be available for that to happen.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And actually, I have never visited Xiamen before, and if I have the opportunity, I promise that I will go. Thank you for. Yeah, and if there is no more questions, maybe our today's event will go to an end. And thank you for coming. And thank you again, Bill. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, and good evening and good morning from here.